Welcome! Today we are diving into something truly incredible, your brain's secret ability to learn just by listening. It's this subconscious superpower that's working all the time, whether you realize it or not. So, have you ever really thought about this? How is it possible that you can just binge watch a show in a foreign language and suddenly start picking up words, maybe even whole phrases? It kind of feels like you're learning through osmosis, right?
Well, it's definitely not magic, but it is a kind of superpower that every single one of us has. It's a fundamental process that's literally hardwired into our brains, just waiting to be switched on.
So, in this explainer, we are going to unpack that superpower. We're going to break down exactly how your own innate ability works, step by step.
I want you to think of your brain as this brilliant pattern detective. When it gets hit with a flood of new information, like a foreign language, it doesn't panic. Nope, it immediately gets to work, hunting for repetitions, for structures, for any rules hiding in all that chaos.
And this superpower, it has a name. It's called statistical learning. And it's the engine that drives our most effortless, most intuitive learning. At its core, statistical learning is just your brain's automatic talent for tracking how often things happen and what's likely to happen next. It's constantly running the numbers and calculating probabilities, all without you ever having to do any math. It's incredible. And look, this isn't some newfangled technique, it's the oldest trick in the book. This is the exact same system that babies use to master their native language, just by listening to the world around them. It is a universal human trait. So how does this pattern detective actually do its job? Well, it follows this really logical five-step process to turn what starts as meaningless sound into language you can actually understand. So here's the roadmap. It all starts with a sound scan, then moves on to chunk building. After that, it finds the word borders, creates a meaning link, and finally, it uses prediction to really lock in the learning. Okay, step one. It all begins with the sound scan. Your brain just opens the floodgates and listens, taking in all of that raw auditory data from the new language. But it's not just passive listening. Your brain is actively analyzing which sounds and syllables pop up the most often. It pays super close attention to the common ones and starts to filter out the rare, one-off sounds that are probably just, noise. And that leads us right into step two, chunk building. As soon as your brain figures out which sounds are repeating, it starts grouping them together into what it thinks are stable chunks. So for example, if your brain hears a continuous stream of sound like bonjour, 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 it thinks, that's statistically pretty unlikely to be random. It sees how often that sequence repeats and basically concludes that bonjour must be a single meaningful unit, probably a word. Next is this really crucial third step, figuring out the word borders. Your brain is tracking which syllables are most likely to follow other syllables. So take the phrase pretty baby. The odds of the syllable T coming after prit are super high, but the odds of ba coming after T, much lower. It could have been girl or car. That big drop in probability is a signal to your brain. It's a little flag that says, hey, a word probably just ended. And that is how you start to hear the spaces between words. Okay, this is where the real magic seems to happen. Step 4. The meaning link. Up to this point, your brain just has a bunch of sound chunks, but they don't mean anything yet. Now it's time to connect them to the real world. Just imagine you're watching a French movie. Every single time you see someone eat, you hear that sound, chunk, manger. Your brain, our little pattern detective, spots this connection. After it happens a few times, it makes this powerful leap. That sound, manger, must mean the action of eating. And the final step is what makes it all stick. Step 5 is prediction. See, your brain isn't just a passive sponge. It actively tries to guess what's coming next based on all the patterns it's already learned. So, when you're watching that show and you find yourself anticipating that a character is about to say bonjour or manger, and then they actually do, that moment, that correct guess, sends a tiny reward signal through your brain, and that strengthens the whole neural connection. That's when the learning really, truly locks in. So let's bring this all the way back to our original question. This exact same system is at play whether we're talking about a baby learning to speak or you learning Spanish from a TV show. The learning mechanism is absolutely identical. A baby links the sounds of its parents' voices to what they're doing, and you do the exact same thing, linking the dialogue on the screen to the actions of the characters. It's the same process.
And watching a show is actually a supercharged way to do this because it gives you all the perfect ingredients for statistical learning. You get the sounds from the dialogue, you see the visual actions, you get the emotional weight of the scene, and you get all the rich context from the plot. All of that helps your brain make those crucial meaning links way faster.
Which brings us to what might be the most powerful idea of all. This is all about learning without the stress and strain of studying. It's about tapping into the immense, often unused power of your subconscious mind.
So, the real kicker is this. When you just put yourself in a language-rich environment, your brain gets to work building that language for you. It's automatic, it's powerful, and it's always on. You don't have to force it. You just have to show up.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty big thought. If your brain is this sophisticated, that it can literally decode an entire language on its own from passive exposure, what other patterns, what other habits, what other ideas are you absorbing from your environment every single day without ever even realizing it?